Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV in a new edition of our online interview series. Finally, we made it. I want to get an update from Tony Makuch, the CEO of Discovery Silver. And of course, I want to say that upfront, I am a shareholder of the company and now really happy shareholder because I think what Tony and the team did was one of the smartest moves in mining I saw for the last 10, 20 years. And yeah, Discovery Silver, the last year was not so easy for the company. Transition year, of course. As we know, Mexico changed a lot in the politics, thank God. But we want to discuss now Porcupine and, of course, also Cordero. Welcome and yeah, good day to Canada. Tony, how are you? Good to see you.
Well, good to be on, and really appreciate the opportunity to get to tell the story and spread the knowledge in terms of what we're doing and the great opportunity we have here, both with Discovery, both in Porcupine and in Mexico.
Exactly. Fantastic. So thank you very much for taking the time here. It's already really, yeah, late in the night, but I love to take the opportunity. Let's talk about Porcupine and yeah, the takeover of the mine and how you financed it. And I mean, you have Franco-Nevada now also in the boat and really some, yeah, big financing houses. How did you come on that?
Okay, we had known for some time, and actually, I mean, I'm from Timmins, so I was very familiar with these assets. We'd actually worked, and even within the team I've had, whether it's Gord Levoy, who was a mill operator at the Dome Mill in the past, at the Kid Mill in the past. He worked for me for a lot of years. We built the Lakeshore Mills, etc., and Kirkland Lake. Duncan Kinger was actually a miner underground, a frontline supervisor, general foreman, etc. At a number of them, Panmure Mine underground, Coil Pond Mine underground. Eric Callio, who was chief geologist at the Dome Mine, he was
Mhm.
actually chief geologist even that to transform Dome from an underground mine to an open pit. So we got a team. Pierre Rock worked in engineering, etc. We got a team of people that we've been around the world. We've seen a lot of other projects, but we're all from this area. We've all worked in this camp before, and we heard about the opportunity and felt it was something unique. I know that there was a lot of other assets that were for sale within the Newmont portfolio, and they were all good assets. But part of the expression we made to Newmont when they were making the transaction, but we really only want to focus on this. Maybe somebody wants to buy everything, etc. We don't want to make a for the package. We want to focus here because we think we can make a difference. We think we can take this from what it is today back and bring it to position to be maybe back to being a tier one asset in the gold space. And what's a tier one asset in the gold space? We think we can take it to somewhere over the next few years and demonstrate that production up to 500,000 ounces a year for 10+ years at cost in the lower half of the cost curve. So,
Wow.
there's exploration upside, there's operational upside, there's development and building new mines and reinvestment in capital to put money to work to help increase productivity, increase production, lower costs, and create a lot of value for shareholders. And definitely, although we're in a 100-year-old mining camp and over 77 million ounces of gold mined and mining here, we come out of the picture and say, hey, we got 15 million ounces in resources. We show you this. We give a mine plan that shows we can produce almost 5 million ounces over the first for the about up to 2041, over 285,000 ounces a year over the next 10 years. And the entry level valuation was really, really, I mean, I think that's one of the other aspects of this that Newmont was very supportive for us in the transaction. They were, in terms of ticking the boxes for what they were looking for from a return for the asset. We had really good support and backing from Franco-Nevada and from a lot of our large shareholders, including Eric Sprott and Jupiter out of the UK. And take that to the step where you put together the right group of people. We talk about the right assets and in the right location, well financed, proper financial backing. We think we have lots of upside for success.
Okay.
Like
Mhm,
Go ahead.
super. So what would be your next immediate steps at Porcupine, and then to use also the cash flow, of course, for Cordero, because this is, yeah, was the master project before, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, we still haven't closed. I mean, we expect to close, within the next month. That definitely, we were thinking we would close sometime between March 31st and April 30th, and we're
Mhm,
waiting just for some government consents and etc. The lawyers are working pretty much around the clock trying to get that done, and then as we progress, I mean, really, we talk about value drivers as I mentioned earlier. If what I see the value drivers in our industry, number one, there's really four, right? One is with diamond drilling and exploration. We think there's significant exploration upside on these assets, both in terms of discovering new assets, but also in terms of extending, upgrading current resources from inferred to measured and indicated, so you can bring them to reserve and find extensions of those resources in this mine. So we want to spend a lot of money on drilling. We're kind of targeting roughly a $50 million a year exploration program. Putting in context, over the last few years, I think that might have been more like $5 million a year. So definitely an investment in exploration and at all the assets and within the camp. That's going to be number one. Number two is we see investment on investment into the assets, invest in ventilation and backfill systems and equipment at the mines to improve productivity. We get 100 tons a day more at Hoyle Pond. Hoyle Pond's one of the highest grade gold mines in Canada. We get 100 tons a day more at Hoyle Pond at 10 or 12 grams per ton. It's equivalent to 1,000 tons a day at Pamour. But even
mhm,
the Pamour pit at 1.4 grams per ton is one of the higher grade open pits
mhm.
around. But part of it is investment into the operations at Hoyle Pond, Borden, bringing the Pamour pit online and into full production this year, and then investment into the mill to get the mill productivity back up to about 4.3, 4.4 million tons a year from current level somewhere around 3.2, 3.4. So that's the phase two. The other part, investing into the mines and getting that part, and then really working on operational performance and look at ways we can reduce costs, etc. When you make that investment and you understand the resource, improve productivity. So that's the third leg of what we can do in terms of creating new value for our shareholders. And the goal really is not just to increase our NAV; it's to increase the NAV per share, right? And you can see already our entry level. It was a $1.2 billion valuation. Our entry level $275 million. So definitely there's value to be created there, and we want to make sure we can realize that value for our shareholders, and then from there grow that value by bringing in new value, right?
Of course, absolutely. So with that financing package you have, that is absolutely enough then to do all those initiatives, I would call it, or to do all those this work. And can you use already parts also for Cordero?
No, what no, this financing package, what we did was we really structured this to focus on into Porcupine, and
Mhm,
it is enough. It is the financing package is in its form is definitely there to help us and to bring the product Porcupine up into production. We had $3,000 gold. I mean, we're going to generate a lot of cash. We showed in terms of cash. I mean, effectively the difference between $2,500 gold and $3,000 gold, or between what we had in our PEA between there is $100 million. So
mhm.
you're going to generate a lot of cash to help finance other things as well. I mean, the other part that this really does is it gives us the opportunity now as we're going to finance Cordero to now you're more of a going concern. So it gives you access to other forms of debt that you can have because you have a production operation. So we see this as definitely an enabling exercise to assist us with getting Cordero financed and built. Permitted, financed, and then built, and Cordero itself is. I talk about a tier one asset in Porcupine, and Cordero is a tier one asset in the silver space, and
Yeah.
we're pretty excited about what we can do there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you have now the great catalyst with Porcupine to really move forward Cordero. I said it already in my entry talk. We saw thank God, a great politics, a change in the politics of Mexico. Yeah, I think Mrs. Scheinbauer is much more pragmatic. This is what I feel a little bit. I think she's the right woman at the right place, to be honest. And this is also what I hear from several other companies, also with the Ministry of Mines, etc. Things look quite good. So, what is the status with Cordero now? Because that would be, yeah, really large open pit, and there was all the time the discussion. Oh, no more open pits. It's bad. Yeah, I don't get it because Mexico is like how long, 500-600 years of easily mining history, and I mean there have always been open pits. Where's the problem?
Yeah, well, I think what we focus on is the things that we can control, and even you recognize, even in terms of what we socially, how do we maintain our social license here to operate, whether you're an open pit and underground mine. We've been, I think that the company has progressed very well in terms of achieving numbers of awards and being recognized as both an employer of choice in the region, a responsible for the environment, community support, community relations, and everything that we do. That's been pretty strong. We've been working towards de-risking the project over the last year, and we've actually just reached a milestone where we actually now own all the surface rights to all the property. We've completed all our access agreements with any of the any of the Hito in the area, plus and a relationship with any of the local ranchers around. So we have the access, that the area we've secured. The other thing we did was we secured the water. We're working towards now, setting it up where the groundwater we have within the region of our operation, and it's about 2.7 million cubes of water we've identified, which is enough water if we wanted to run the plant. But we
Mhm,
said we could leave that water for agriculture and for other needs in the region. We've actually worked with the local community, and we'll build a water treatment plant, and we'll take part of our we'll take about half the water of that water treatment plant discharges now, and a lot of it is in untreated form. We'll be able to not only improve the treatment of the water, and we'll take our water from the community, from
mhm,
this community, so pay for that. So part of it is being socially responsible, plus and spot responsible for water usage, and
mhm,
we're going to recycle over 80% of our water. We have no acid draining potential on the site, so and we working towards a high density deposition strategy for our tailings area. So we have minimum environmental impact. We're in a private area with like private land where no neighbors around us. So yeah, and so we check off all the box from a social point of view, water, environment, responsibility point of view, community impact, and no, and manage in terms of only positive community impacts into the region. And so we've been progressing the project in a number of these areas. We have our permit application in. We understand that it's at the forefront, and it's definitely being reviewed and being moved forward. And we somewhat expect to achieve our permit this year, and move forward. Because we've just completed the land acquisition now, and now we're actually going through the next step of applying for a change of land use for the property. We expect that to take somewhere between 4 to 9 months. So sometime before the end of this year, we expect to see a permit sometime in the first half of this year. And then with that, we'll do some refinements to our feasibility study, plus take that step. And we're working on that now, setting ourselves up for the what we need to financially to get this project set up to be built. And if in simple forms, some of the really besides the fact that Cordero is going to produce over 37 million ounces a year, so tier one. This silver space, 37 million ounces of silver equivalent a year for the first 10 years at all-in sustaining costs in the lower half of the cost curve, right? Generate generate lot of uh, lot of positive a lot of positive for and it ticks the box from a prosperity point of view. It employs over 1,000 people in the region, over
mhm,
2,500 for the first 4 years during construction, 1,000 people for over 20 years. It generates in excess of $4 billion in goods and services in the region, pays almost $2 billion of taxes into local and regional governments and national governments. And so it employs people, pays good wages, trains well.
Access.
You can see that there's opportunity where everybody prospers, including the shareholders and the original investors. And it also produces the right commodity that the world needs: the silver, the zinc,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
lead, as we progress into the new energy transition. So,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I see it the same way. Um, let's speculate a little bit, and that's a forward-looking statement for the regulators. But hypothetically, yeah, I always love to, yeah, to have a plan in that sense. Yeah, let's assume you get your, because I think still your environmental impact permit is, yeah,
yeah,
still,
our MIA is what we're expecting, right?
exactly. And let's assume you get it this year. Okay, could you, yeah, let's say develop Cordero by, let's say, 2029, 2028 into production? Would that be possible, as given the fact that you are already so far with everything?
Yeah, well, I mean, in the original feasibility study, and we've been doing the work, it's a max 2.5 year build, right? And so a lot of the work can get started fairly quick. We've done a lot of the work on the geotechnical and the geology point of view. They say we're things like what we're talking about water. We'll be advancing that even prior to getting our permits. Some of the things, water and power, we'll be advancing as we go prior to get a permit. Similar to our change of land use, like you say, so setting ourselves up, and so then what, let's say we do get a permit and we have everything in place and the financing in place by the end of this year. It's a 2.5 year build. That's what the other. I mean, a lot of unique things about Cordero. It's not a very long time to get it built, to get it into production. 2.5 years into production, so that mid 2028, maybe end of 2028, depending on how things are. Definitely, but and definitely, like I say, that 2.5 year build, and then commissioning, and so you could see this in full production by 2029, right?
Wow, fantastic. That sounds like a good game plan to me. And also what I like with the fact is, so from here we have like easily 3 years, I would call it, yeah, where you can use the cash flow from Porcupine already. So that yeah, gives me and I, you know me, I think gold prices go much higher. Yeah. So your cash flow will be much higher also. So what would you expect conservatively, please, um, cash flow wise, what you could use to construct Cordero? And do you even need to raise, let's say, massively more money, or that you say, oh, you know what, we have the cash flow, but maybe we take a little bit debt on and we are fine?
Yeah, what this is, I mean, in terms of our current financing package, you can see that we're well financed to advance Porcupine. We may want to do some things to modify that. So we may come and replace some of the debt facility with maybe a lower cost of capital. When we look at the price of gold, and that we at now, we may want to do an early repayment of part of the royalty in order to manage as we go forward. Right, so we may want to restructure some of the financing in order to support that. And if you do go, you look at the gold price, and what I was said earlier, you can see if we're into this strong gold price environment that we expect to be over the next 5 years, you're going to generate another 100 to 150 million more cash flow after tax than what was even showing in our forecasts
Mhm.
before we even grow production. So,
Yeah.
I think we're at the right thumb, and as we're building and with progression for silver prices, I mean, there's a lot of things from a timing point of view that are really working in our favor in terms of being ready to move these. And I've been in this industry for a long time. I used to, I learned a long time ago that one time in terms of what we were doing and being able to get a pat on the back or a kick in the ass was that if high grade or high gold prices, everybody when you got high grade and high gold prices, you look really really good. At low gold prices, everybody gets mad at us, but we're still the same people. But we think we're in the right price environment. we're in the right commodity, in the right locations, that we feel very excited about what we can do. And that's where, in terms of, we don't really have that many gray hairs, but we still feel very youthful in terms of what we can bring to the
That's right.
table.
There's also some gray hair.
Yeah, there's still lots of
That's
youth
right.
there, right? Lots of
Yeah, and also, one thing is really fantastic because your product can be sold worldwide. It's like standardized, I would call it. You are not like the poor car maker in Mexico, which needs to export in the US and now has the tariffs. Yeah, and 2029, I think Mr. Tariff is also gone then, so that is something which might help Mexico then also. So from that perspective, how much money do you think finally Cordero would cost by now? When you oversee that with some inflation, what's your feeling?
This is some of the things we definitely have to do our feasibility study and update things. I mean, we're trying to get an assessment on what the potential impact would be on of the tariffs. Or there, we're trying to sense, well, how much of the steel, how much of what we were using is actually sourced from the U.S. versus what's sourced from China and other locations. What's the
Mhm,
impact of that is, we have some improvements or some additional investments, like we talked about water, that we wanted to do, that maybe we'll spend a little bit more money up front. That'll save money in operating costs. Right now, even let's say we had $600 million in our feasibility study. Maybe, worst case scenario, maybe it grows to 700, maybe it's 650. But the other part is, our feasibility study was done at $22 an ounce silver. We're at 30 plus an ounce silver. One of the things that we did have the discussions, and people say, "Oh, you got higher metal prices. Should we redo the resource?" We're
mhm.
not going to redo the resource. We're not going to redo the mine plan, so that the higher metal prices just makes it much more profitable up front, right? So
Abs
there may be some cost inflation, and there's things that's happened over the world,
all.
definitely. But
Mhm,
we think that's controllable. And the other part is, it's very much offset by metal prices. So, again, what's good about Cordero, what makes Cordero special, besides the fact that it's in private land, in an isolated area, and with no, like, no community impacts, no acid drainage, no water courses or something that need moved. So from a geographical point of view, it's in a good location with good metallurgy. Besides all that, as you progress into the market that we are, and you're producing this metal, we're in the right market. And if we can produce metal, and, like I say, generate a lot of prosperity for 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 all stakeholders, including government, employees, shareholders, investors, and it's one of the perfect storm, the perfect type of project, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just saw some minutes ago, silver is approaching shortly now $35 per ounce. As we discussed upfront before the interview, my feeling is that we might go to $62 latest next year, and it could go longer term to one over 100. Well, I mean, Cordero at let's say 60, $70, you would look like the master genius, I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's, hey, as I say, high metal prices is definitely the perfect storm for us. So,
Yeah.
what we got to do is, we got to continue on to de-risk the project, which we are, demonstrate that it ticks all the boxes. Like, you
Mhm,
can understand that if somebody came along and said, we don't like open pits, well, there must be a reason. But this one, in terms of that, it doesn't, all these things that you may look as negative, but this one has all the positives. This is
mhm,
a different project.
mhm,
And when you look at it, and the benefit of what it brings to the region, 600 to $700 million new investment in 2 years into the region. Like, as we talk about the 4.2 billion dollars in investment over
mhm,
almost 20 years, employing 1,000 people. What it brings. I mean, this is what I like about our industry. We create prosperity from nothing, right? And it's all the commodities that we produce are the commodities that the rest of the world needs for the energy transition, to support everything we do. So, I think it's a good time. And again, with Cordero, especially at these metal prices, your payback goes from 2.5 years to 1 year, right?
mhm.
And so And the other aspect about it, like, we talk about maybe the Capex 700 million. At these metal prices, the NPV of the project is going to be like 2.5 or 2.8 billion. So for every dollar you invest, you're going to get $4, $3 to $4 back.
Mhm.
That's that's a perfect. That's the kind of project you want. That's acceleration of money, and that's what we need to do to make money work. You see a lot of mining projects. Somebody has a $500 million capex and
Yeah.
a $550 million NPV. Well, you might as well keep your money in the bank. This is one where we can put money to work and do a lot of good things with it.
Absolutely. And I could imagine with that rapid payback that you really could say like, hey, you know what? We take that part from Porcupine and then maybe we take 40% debt on and we must not issue a share.
That's right. Yep. That's the, like, again, our goal would be to, as we close this transaction, we'll have about, 840 million shares. Our goal would be to as we progress, no matter what we do, even as if we issue new shares, it's all about increasing the value per share. And if we increase the NAV value per share,
Mhm.
that's how we create value per. It's not about just increasing the net asset value of the company and the assets. Is about increasing the net asset value per share of the company. That's what creates value for shareholders, and we're shareholders too, right?
Yeah, exactly. You are, as I am. Super. So we could say the big masterpiece would be the environmental permit, I would call it, yeah, in Mexico. And you could imagine that this really happens not at the end of the year, maybe a little bit faster.
I mean, if you go back to, I know when I first started here, some people say, "Well, your permit would never happen." We definitely see the light of a permit coming for here. Like, as I say, we've been working towards making sure that, from, if you have to judge us, you can judge us that there's nothing, in terms of what we do, in terms of the quality of the project, in terms of quality of the people, and what this project is going to bring to the table. Nobody can sit there and say this project shouldn't go ahead. This is actually a mining project that should be built, and definitely we see the support.
Mm,
Definitely we got the support at the local level and the town of Parral, and it's a mining community. People have been mining silver in that community since the 1500s, right?
mm,
It's a mining community. The
yeah,
the the state of Chihuahua, the governor of Chihuahua, all that, they're very supportive. We're not front and center, and we do have support in Mexico City. We are working, and again, trying to demonstrate the quality of this project. And we feel that, in terms of, even as you progress, and even what's going on politically in North America, this is a type of investment that brings prosperity and offsets all the negative impacts from tariffs, etc., that could be happening to others. This is what the region needs to
mm,
offset that, create, so they say, create jobs,
mm.
bring new wealth, bring new prosperity into the regions. That's what's good about our industry, right? That's why I like being in the mining industry. So.
Exactly. No, and also I think it's important because you respect the environment fully, ESG wise. You do everything correct, yeah, and this is super important. But as you said, bring the money to the people, and this is exactly what they need because they need to survive their daily life, yeah. And when they get a good job, a safe job, also, and let's say in a positive order paid, then everybody is winning because what we should not forget is that you contribute with your taxes also to the state. I mean, it's not only that you bring work to them and maybe a school or a hospital and maybe a new road and power and clean water, but I think also longer term, the state taxes, the county taxes, that helps also everybody, right?
Well, the other thing is, we don't talk enough about it in our industry, but for every job we create, if we
Mhm,
create 1,000 jobs, that creates another five. For every one job, you create another five ancillary jobs, right?
mhm,
So this brings a lot more to the table. And these are high paying jobs, right? These are, and these jobs are paying, on average 40% to 200% higher than average wages in the region.
mhm,
It's that. But the other thing that I think we talk about it, and people, from a mining point of view, from a people point of view, and the jobs, these aren't manual labor jobs. this is some really sexy jobs here. We need lawyers, accountants, we need engineers, geologists, we need environmental people. You need, you need mechanics, you need millwrights, you need electricians, you need computer programmers. And even as we invest in automation and digitization in the region, you're going to have the training and development, and it's because they're generational minds. You're going to train and develop young children who don't just have to think they're going to be the truck driver. They could be an engineer, geologist. They could become the next set of mine builders and the next mining CEOs and the geologists in the world. So there's lots of exciting jobs and skills that we create. And again, with our industry, we train people from the ground up. We're coming to be here for 20 to 30 years. You're going to recruit and train and develop generation of people,
Yeah,
right? Which
absolutely.
which then can pass on. So it's that's the other thing about the social side that we don't really get credit for, right?
Yeah. And don't forget one more very important job, and this is the chef of the kitchen of the camp.
Yes.
Because good food gives good workers.
There's lot. Yeah. See, so I mean, it's not, when people like think about, I'm going to work at a mine, and they might think, oh, I'm just going to drive a truck, or I'm going to have a pick and a shovel. Hey,
Yeah,
the trucks probably drive themselves. The mechanics, of us, they might pull a big wrench. They might have a big wrench, and they might have a grease gun with them, but they're probably always going to have some fine screwdrivers. They're also going to have to be the instrumentation people. They're going to have to understand technology, and things, and computers, and that's not going to be, it's just not going to be. It's not the same type of people. A lot of skills, and like I say, lots of really value added work. And I think that's the other part of what you're doing with people in terms of socially, in terms of helping, and from a mental health point of
mhm,
view, make people feel good, feel wanted. They get trained, developed, they can raise their family and pass on to the next generation. A
yeah.
lot of things. So
Yeah, exactly. Next generation, that is a good final sentence because I think your Cordero mine would be also a mine for the next generation. This is my feeling a little bit because with more exploration, I think your mine life by today is something like 19 years, but I think it could be easily 30 or 40 or 50 years maybe.
Exactly, because it only in our current mine life, we're only exploiting 65% of the known resource. So with higher metal price, lower costs,
Yeah,
and in 19 years from now, you can end up with another 19 years of mine life, and we still, and we haven't been doing any more drilling because, well, you got this large resource,
yeah,
right? So yeah, this is things where, again, creates the anchor and the generations, and creates communities, and the local region in Chihuahua, both Chihuahua City and in the town of Parral. Parral is a mining community. There's mining people taken to going to mining colleges, mining universities to be engineers, technicians, technologists in the industry. This allows them to come, stay home, stay in the region, to live there and grab their families there, as opposed to having to go out in other aspects, other parts of the country. So
yeah. Fantastic. Super. Tony, thank you very much. This was a fantastic 33 minutes, much longer than I thought, but it's always a big pleasure to talk to you. And first of all, again, congratulations what you guys and the team have done with Porcupine, but now also it looks like that Cordero is really, really moving forward. And I have a good feeling that Cordero comes online and comes to life within the next, hopefully 3.5 years. Let's call it like that. As you said, 2029 commercial production, that would be fantastic. And I believe also 2029, this world needs your silver. That is really for sure, because we are in the seventh year of the deficit. And this is not diminishing because we do have those new mines. Even if we would build every year 3 Corderos, it would not diminish. So from that sense, I think you have a wonderful future in front of you. I'm a happy shareholder, and I will stay a shareholder for sure because I see also much, much higher value here for the stock. And I wish you well and hope to see you soon. Thank you very much for your time.
yeah, well, thank you. And yeah, we've had a lot of success, and really appreciate, in terms of what we've done. But there's significant more value to be created as we go forward. So we're not sitting on our laurels. We're only actually getting excited to get started here. So
So,
we appreciate the time, and hope we get a chance to talk again, and
good
do
luck.
this again. Take
Yeah.
care.
That is for sure. Thank you very much, Tony. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there was Tony Makuch, the CEO of Discovery Silver, and I know a lot of our viewers were a little bit skeptical that this, company will make it, that this will go through with Cordero, and the politics in Mexico. You see, things have dramatically changed. The company bought the Porcupine Mine, so there is the new cash cow. Things are working well. They have new large partners. They have the financing. And also, we are only waiting now this year for the last permit, the environmental permit. And then also they will move Cordero forward and only 2.5 years construction time. So by 2029, this wonderful mine could be really in commercial production. That would be fantastic. And as the markets really need the silver from Mexico, especially also from Cordero, because it's a super large mine then also. And I must say what Tony and the team did, this is how it should be. This is how successful management teams are working, of course, with fantastic projects, but you really need to manage those things. And they did it. And I have a very good feeling that we're going to have a lot of fun with the share price in the future here. So my immediate target here is easily $3 to $3.50. And longer term, I see it already at probably 5.5 to 6 Canadian dollars for Discovery Silver. This is what my point and figure chart is saying. And make sure you have a look on Discovery Silver. Make sure you maybe should own some shares, as I do, and as Tony and the management does, of course, and many, many other professionals in our universe. I wish you well, stay healthy. Thank you very much, and bye bye from Switzerland.